Hey guys, Bowie here, and today we're going to talk about learning decision making with streamers. As you all know, watching streamers is really entertaining and it's a great way to spend your time, but it can also be an amazing learning experience if you listen and watch how those players communicate.
Why do I never get Titan Sliver anymore? Literally never.
We're going to talk about Arteezy playing carry, Notail playing support, and Brax playing offlane in this video, but before we start, I just want to remind you guys that these videos are quite time consuming, and this specifically is probably getting demonetized since I don't have access to footage of the players speaking without music. That said, I think this type of content is too good to pass, and if at the end of the video you agree with me, hit that bell button and recommend the video to your friends so that more people get to improve with you as well. With that said, let's start with Arteezy. I really like this replay because it tackles a lot of problems lower, mid, and even high mar players face in their games. And you can see that this 8k average game is no exception to those problems. The first thing I think we can learn from this replay starts here. Arteezy was struggling to play with Legion Commander, and overall, he felt like he could be throwing the game.
He's dying without pressing BKB. He's not dueling Jug. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
But eventually, they're able to find Juggernaut, the most important hero on the Radiant side.
Let's try some Abyssal Arrow. Wanna just duel him? Go duel him. Holy shit, guys! Holy fucking shit!
And I want you to put yourself in Arteezy's shoes. Jug that for 2 minutes, lane pushing. Wouldn't you try to go high ground? Especially in a game where you were struggling so much with your allies, the gut reaction for a lot of players in situations like this is to try and seize the moment and end the game as fast as possible, but this is not Arthur's call. Listen to what he says after that.
Wait for a duel, let's do it again. I'll try the song line. Do we have a smoke?
When you're this late into the game, the respawn timers, especially in this case where Jug bought back, enables plays like this one. Juggernaut might have buyback again, and if they go high ground right now, this is clearly a buyback worth going for since the respawn timer is so big, but what if they get another kill and they are hitting tower when he has, I don't know, 30 seconds left, 40 seconds left? It's a harder one. That's not the only reason for Arteezy not going high ground straight up. You have to remember that he's playing Naga, a hero that even this farmed is quite bad at sieging, and it's similar to other heroes like a Slark that doesn't have a lot of essence shift stacks or an Ursa. And then you add the fact that they have a Lich that makes it even hard on top of a Mars, on top of a repair kit. Arena of Blood can make the disengage really awkward and allow Jug's buyback to be worthwhile by getting a ton of kills. So instead, he kinda chills until he finds the enemy Lion that also has no buyback, and this is finally when they start to go for the push. Watch how hard it is for him to breach this, even though only 3 heroes are alive in the enemy team. Arteezy's caution is not going for high ground proves to be totally correct. Jug buys back, and he only lives here because of a Pog Abyssal Blade play into some creeps, making the attempt worthy for Dire.
No fucking way, dude. Please don't let me die, guys. He bought back again.
In games where you're not playing a Terrorblade, a Lycan, or in games the enemy has amazing high ground defense, you can use tips like this to increase the likelihood you get barracks, or that at least going high ground in the first place is at least good for you and not terrible. Watch what happened to Arthur's team when they tried to go high ground prior to this.
Go Roche? Oh, it's not up. Go high ground. Go high ground.
They kill 3 heroes, Roshan was not up, and so going high ground is the only way they can get anything out of those kills. Eventually though, as they are close by, Roshan respawns, but Arteezy decides to force the buyback, which very often is a great idea. In a game like this one, they can force buybacks and then Roche with Song of the Siren up, and it's almost impossible for Radiant to stop it.
If I could force Legion, or force this guy's buy.
That said, you can never know what's going to happen. If this rank 90 Legion can piss Arteezy off so much, imagine what can go down in your Legend pubs.
My god, dude. My fucking god.
This game is a clear example of a draft that is way too risky to go high ground, especially when they also have repair kit. Unfortunately for Arteezy, Void Spirit had no buyback, so they don't force anything out of Radiant when they move up the stairs besides a repair kit charge while they lose a hero, the chance to get Roche, And on top of that, broke itself since Arteezy BKB TP to make sure he would live unscratched. So the summary of this first part is to actually try and measure how well your high ground taking fares versus the enemy high ground defense. Sometimes just getting one pick off, even when that hero is really important, is not enough to go high ground. So you can either copy Arteezy and go for another pick off, or you can try and outfarm the enemy a little bit more. What I want to talk about now is something that is taboo for support players, at least I think so. Especially when we are surrounded by content and ideas that push the idea of supports carrying in the same sense that actual carries carry. This might be a controversial topic because people will say that the only reason this works is because Notail is playing with great AKMMR players that know exactly what to do and when to do what, but that's not true.
I want to die. He doesn't boat. I just want to die. This Conker has no fucking idea what he's doing. Why don't we boat? Why don't we blow everything on Morphling?
If we go back to Arteezy's replay, you can see that his Legion made a ton of pretty basic mistakes, constantly.
This guy plays so stupid, dude. Actually so stupid. That was a duel, by the way, but he doesn't want to press it. Now he's scared of pressing it.
You can see that he's not happy, but that didn't change his mentality or his will to do the right thing.
We need Kunka, Kunka.
So let me give you a couple of examples in case I'm not making myself clear. For starters, Notail is 1-7 at 15 minutes, which a lot of people would quickly associate with feeding and playing bad, but let's see why and how he died. His Spectre eventually haunts for a kill bottom, and suddenly the lane is empty, and all of you guys know that when an empty lane presents itself, supports are itching, dying to get a piece of it, and so Notail has to be there. But this is no free lane. Legion is level 6 and she is great at taking towers. When Puck rotates to the lane, Legion hesitates on the duel, buying some time, and even though Notail saves himself, watch how he plays. He doesn't run towards his base, even though his escape is now on cooldown. His job as a support 5 is to waste Radiant's time as much as possible while he gets experience from creeps dying to the tower. At the end of the day, the more time he wastes for Spectre, especially defending these early towers, the least likely Spectre gets ganked, and so the more farmed she is, the fastest the Radiant's power spike is gonna come up. Watch the Legion HP after that kill. Taking the tower now is just not an option. There's obviously games where you can carry as a support or whatever that means, but that should never be a higher priority than doing basic things. Watch how Notail is completely fine with what happened.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
He just wasted a lot of time from Radiant, whilst his Nature's Prophet and Spectre get the same tower with no issues. Even though he dies top, he still TPs to that lane again to keep sapping experience towards his level 6. That's until his Shaker suggests Notail to initiate, even though he's not even 6 yet. And he's going to die again, but he one more time accomplishes something far bigger than his death because, first of all, he's a support 5, and the Spectre in this skirmish gets a dominating streak, and because the fight prolongs itself, he can once again address it and help to keep that tower up. Spectre eventually dies, but with Shaker there, and the knowledge the Legion has no duel, added with the fact he kept accepting experience, gives him level 6.
We need Kunka, Kunka.
Know that he wanted Kunkka to be there, but he cannot be, but still, by being there, which can sometimes feel like you're wasting time, but you're not, you're mounting a defense, and going in when his team was ready, they make Radiant pay a huge price. Many supports after a couple of deaths in the lane think that their job there is done, that they cannot do anything, that they should address another lane or farm jungle, and you know, that can be the case if all 3 lanes have people making use of the experience and farm there, or if the enemy is literally AFK in their base. But a lot of times there's better plays, and giving away objectives when you're not being destroyed will probably give the enemy a higher chance to destroy you in a couple of minutes. Note that by staying there, they didn't only kill Radiant, but they also got a tower. Radiant starts pushing mid after that, and Notail once again shows up for tower defense duty. It's worth mentioning that Phoenix defends towers really well. If let's say he was playing a position 5 clockwork without having hookshot available, this move wouldn't be nearly as effective, but because this hero has attack speed low and dishes a lot of damage even without his ult available, his death here gives dual damage, yes, but pushes Radiant away, while Nature's Prophet is getting a way better objective in the tier 2 bottom.
I think we have to TP in with Prophet or something. But it's okay.
This eventually buys time for Kunkka to position, and the damage he dished allows Spectre to get a sneaky kill on Disruptor, and later on, they force Morph's TP and they kill Puck.
Kill this for him.
After that, knowing Spectre wants to farm around this area, Notail goes for a deep ward, which eventually leads to Disruptor Vision, another kill for the Spectre that easily cruises away. And yeah, Notail dies, but 2 enemy cores are in the tier 2 tower for a support 5 kill, while Spectre keeps getting fat.
Taking one for the team.
Notail, yes, died 6 times, but he is more than 50% of his team's deaths, and all of them either set up kills for his cores or delay tower pushes. A couple of minutes after that, Spectre has Radiance because she was completely left to her own devices, not because Radiant played bad or anything, but because Notail wasn't jungling or getting the easiest farming experience. He was going for the tough times. He made every move Radiant tried hard by putting himself on the line, and even though he wanted to die when his Kunkka didn't show for tower defense,
I want to die.
all of his moves in the early game eventually catapults them towards this skirmish where he keeps Spectre alive, giving her an ultra kill and a really easy and fast game after this.
Spectre, march, march.
Hey. And we get the... Wow, they just ran into that. We didn't even... Did we even click our...
It is possible to carry games as a support, but do you really want to try and carry a game as a Phoenix, putting your Spectre as a second priority? In this meta of really greedy and scaling cores, playing real position 5 can pay off really well, no matter how bad your cores are. I think at this point, it's clear, it doesn't matter the MMR you are, people will make mistakes. And you will commit mistakes that are relative to your MMR. Sometimes you're just not willing to accept that. If carrying as a support made any sense, why would Notail, 2x TI champion, play a sacrificial role for a rank 200 core when, you know, he probably feels much better than those guys? By the way, guys, if you want to learn when to pick Phoenix and how to build her, I'm giving away for free one of the about 25 PDFs available for my Patreons in the description. If you want to learn what are the best heroes of the patch every week, stay tuned for the ad at the end or just check my Patreon in the description. Finally, we will talk about Brax's Venomancer. I like this example because it's similar to the Notail one, but more common. Most position 5 players know that they shouldn't be jungling in the mid game, but when we get to cores, especially heroes like Venomancer that can accelerate really fast, you often see players completely disregarding their basic jobs in exchange of a couple of jungle creeps. Brax dies to Medusa in this clip, then he goes back to the lane, and watch what he does. Whenever you get vision of enough heroes on another side of the map as a core that doesn't want to join whatever they're doing the other side of the map, and Venomancer fits this description since he doesn't want to get his ult until a little later into the game, in this case he doesn't even have Gale, it's your job to be hitting lane creeps. I think job is not even the right word for it. If you know you cannot die in a lane, why would you farm at a slower rate in your own camps? It just doesn't make any sense. Venomancer is special in the sense that he also pushes towers, albeit not super fast, because he gets so much vision, he can do it with relative ease. This process here will take a while, and it's obviously not as sexy as farming ancients.
Slow and steady.
But it is the right way to play the game. First, because as we already talked in the Notail clip, someone always needs to be benefiting from a lane, especially pre-10 minutes. And secondly, because taking the tower increases the amount of farm your team has and naturally reduces what the enemy has. This game is the opposite case of Notail's. In that game, he was defending towers, buying time for a Spectre. And here, Radiant wants Medusa to farm and get big enough to carry. Why would Brax farm his triangle when he is trading farm against a hero that he cannot out-carry, while Radiant clearly cannot defend their towers, with only one support like Notail did in this game, and as soon as the tower falls, watch what he does. He instantly goes mid, and his job here is obviously not going to be easy, but the goal of forcing towers when you have a hero that can appropriately do it is force in that lane more resources than the enemy wants to, or more resources than you are spending. Yeah, could Brax have level 10 now and a Vassal? Maybe. Would this mean that his team would be in a better position than the enemy? Probably not. That Magnus that died bottom could be empowering Medusa, stacking camps. The map control Radiant lost also means less space for stacks and farm for Medusa. In fact, Medusa is now mid alongside another core. I don't need to explain how bad this is, but they just know that if they lose this tier 1 mid tower, Medusa will farm much less in the long run, so she is there. Eventually, the entirety of Radiant is nearby, and while Brax's ult was not incredible, he kills CM, he knows Tide wasted Ravage, and he can do the same thing again.
Bye-bye.
Eventually though, Radiant brings Magnus, and even without Ravage, they still had Sonic Wave and RP. They take a great fight with their other ults, and you're probably thinking, see, that's why I jungle every time I do this, I die, and my team doesn't join fights. Viper sucks, why wasn't he there? And while they did go from 4k net worth advantage to 3k, once everyone respawned, Brax now knows every ult on Radiant is down, and he can repeat this move, luring Medusa and Tide once again for a defense, making sure that his team is still farming better than Radiant. Without ults, they cannot punish what Brax did here, and his team can kill Quap since everyone is middle because Brax outmaneuvered them. He jungles for kind of like a couple of seconds, but as soon as Quap dies, he goes back middle. Another advantage of playing like this rather than jungling until you finish whatever item you think you need is that when you're in a useful part of the map, aka close to an objective, the chance that your team can make plays increases. I see a lot of players saying that their team is just jungling, but if you're doing the same, you're in this perpetual cycle, because if one player doesn't want to jungle, but everyone else is in the jungle, he cannot do anything by himself. But when someone is actually in the tower, it gives chance for more plays to happen. It might not look like it, but this kill would have been way harder without Vassal, and even if Brax was jungling, and this kill was easy, without him being there, as soon as Tide dies, he would have to walk from the entrance to this spot, which could give time for Radiant to defend or actually kill those heroes, but there's 3 dire heroes mid, and only 3 Radiant heroes alive. They cannot do anything. The tower falls. Not only Brax was there to take the tower, he was there to fight when Radiant wasn't in full force, and so they smashed them. It's not about your teammates not doing what you want them to do, it's about being at the right place first. In that moment, he forced 2 heroes mid. If all of his allies were jungling and Quap doesn't die top, sure, he can farm mansions, but farming camps before you force people and so you know where they are is asking to feed, because you are either going to die or someone else will, and you will not be punishing the fact that the enemy grouped somewhere else because you're jungling and not close to an objective to actually get it.
This guy plays so stupid, dude. Actually so stupid. That was a duel, by the way, but he doesn't want to press it. Now he's scared of pressing.
Hey guys, do you feel like Arteezy playing Dota sometimes? Even pro players feel like that all the time, and the way they are able to win so many games, besides the fact that they're really good, is knowing when to pick every hero. Dota is an ever-changing game, and I'm here to help you with that. If you join my Meta Aficionado tier on Patreon, you will get a 20-minute video analysis of the patch weekly, as well as a 20-page PDF file that's gonna have the best heroes for every position. I'm also updating the list whether there's a patch going or whether the meta evolves naturally. This is a great way to get MMR because it will help you filtering the amount of heroes you have to pick, so not only you're gonna learn those heroes faster, but you're going to be playing the best heroes available right now. Guys, thank you all for watching, commenting, and subscribing. In case there is something here that you do not agree, or maybe you wanted me to address this subject in a different way, please make sure to leave it in the comments. If you want a more premium experience than my weekly meta guides, you can DM me on Twitter to get the rates for my coaching. In case you just got back to Dota because of the Compendium or COVID-19, you can check our Discord server. There's a lot of cool people there. Maybe if you're afraid of playing Dota by yourself, you can find someone from your server to, you know, make your Dota experience a little better. Finally, if you want to see me stream or cast, you can follow me on Twitch. I have some big plans for streaming soon, so, you know, it's cool that you already follow me there because you're gonna know when it starts. And finally, if you didn't care about the meta guides, but you still want to help the channel, after all, it definitely, after all, making these videos require a ton of effort, you can check the other tiers there and see if any of them interest you. Thank you a lot, have a good one, and bye guys.